Oh, it popped up on Twitter.
I stopped being able to hear the but I'm playing it in my head, so I'm good to go. Woo, buddy!
Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. It is the Del Valley Sports Pod, episode number 47, which real quickly makes that the Larry Anderson episode because he wore 47 from 83 to 86. Shout LA. We will start Phillies, but it is football season.
Yes!
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 I want to run through a brick wall, dude. Holy hell.
Football is back. Let's go. Let's go.
We've been waiting since February, the something, for this, and now it's finally here. It is the 5th of September. Tomorrow, the Eagles play. Tonight, the Raiders and Chiefs go at it in a showdown. Woo! God damn it, feels good to have football back.
Wow. I've been engaged with baseball, especially when the Phillies are good. There's been a lot of good, exciting things happening between the Phillies. You know, I like to watch all the teams as best I can. We got Ohtani having a 40 for 40 season, even better than the 30 for 30. He's chasing 50-50. Aaron Judge is hitting home runs every night, but it doesn't matter. As soon as the first football week of the season comes up, it just, bam, it just, coming back to me now, Colin. And the Birds get game 2 in a solo show in Brazil on Friday. It is absolutely electric. So fun doing some research for the pod today because it is all coming back. And as exciting as it ever is, every single year this happens. Let's go football.
Every year, as soon as the first game is kicked off in Canton, Ohio for the Hall of Fame game, it's like, all right, football's back, but it's not really. But tonight, it is. I cannot wait. Set your fantasy lineups. Don't forget to do that.
And great showdown, too. I mean, go Birds tomorrow, but a great way to start the year. Oh, my gosh, a Thursday night football game worth watching. I've never heard of such a thing.
A Thursday night football game that just may very well be a preview of the AFC Championship game. And I kind of hope it is.
Bold predictions already to start off the pod from Colin Berger.
We're talking bold predictions here. Get your fantasy lineups, get your futures bets in, because come 8:15 at kickoff, you can't set futures anymore. Bet your sweet tookis. I'm doing that as soon as I get off of this program because I have a lot.
Wide receiver.
I'm putting some money on some season-long things.
Xavier. But, are you worthy? We'll see. We'll find out.
You know what? Speaking of this real quick, before we get into the Phillies, there's a number that I heard today that I want to bring up to you. It's 4,040, 40-40, if you will. In terms of significance, what does that number mean for the Philadelphia Eagles?
4,040. 4,040.
4,040.
Wow. You know, it's weird. You thought the answer would just pop right off the noggin here. It is their 4,000, and it's not their 4,040th game ever. I don't know. At 4,040 players to wear an Eagles uniform ever.
Yards.
Yards?
Yards.
So you're telling me it's yards?
4,040 yards. That is what Jalen Hurts needs to throw for this year to break the franchise record held by Carson Wentz.
That is crazy, dude.
Right?
It feels like he just became quarterback for the Eagles.
Right?
What?
Yes. The franchise record for yards by a Philadelphia Eagles quarterback is 4,039 yards thrown by Carson Wentz in 2019 when he was throwing to Greg Ward, of all people. That was the year when they didn't have a 1,000-yard receiver. Anyway.
Okay, wait. Is that not mind-blowing to you that Donovan McNabb isn't holding more Eagles quarterback stats?
Yes.
It's mind-blowing to me.
Donovan McNabb never had a 4,000-yard passing season, which also blew my mind. He had a few that were in the 3,900-yard category, a couple in the 3,800. One, he got injured. Two, they played one last game. But even Carson Wentz in 2019 still only played 16 games. I believe that Jalen Hurts is going to be the franchise leader in passing yards for a season at the end of this year.
Wow.
Book it.
Wow. Book
Okay,
it.
so
Book it.
you heard that. That's a teaser for the Eagles, and I'm all gang blacked up because
You're
you can't wear
starting us
green.
in this direction. You wanted to talk Phillies first, but you like opened the door for predictions, and that's messed up. So we're just gonna halt this train, shut it down, go to the Phillies, and then because we have to make more predictions. It's the beginning of the season, so I don't know what the hell you're doing today, Colin.
I'm sorry.
Jacked up.
As the conductor of this train, I sent us down the wrong track. But you know what? We're going to get it back on track. We are not derailed. We are on the rail. And I want to get your prediction.
We're not doing predictions. We can, I don't know, any of the live streams we're on, do people have the opportunity to make comments, make posts? Can predictions be made in this time now we're going to talk about the Phillies?
I believe so. If you would like to make comments, I think live viewer comments showing up on StreamYard. This is an example. Yeah. I believe you can comment on YouTube if you're watching there. We are also live on our Twitter feed, and I have posted out the YouTube feed to my YouTube or my Facebook channel. So if you are, I know we cannot get comments on here from Twitter, but we can via YouTube if any of you are watching there.
Maybe this is a unique opportunity to interact with the people a little bit here.
If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. If you would like to comment and chime in, by all means. We've never had that interaction before, and I think it would be absolutely electric. And if you want to call this show, if you're listening, you're probably listening tomorrow, which would be Friday, and the Thursday night game has already played, which is fine. But if you want to call us and react, you can call 412-444-8710. That is the hotline for the Del Valley Sports Spot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Speaking of predictions, Dan, what do you think is going to happen with the Phillies in this 4-game series that they're playing against the Marlins?
Well, I think they're going to kick some ass and take some names, Collins, plural, because the Marlins stink. What's that in the room? It's the Marlins. Get them out of here and break out the
suck
series.
On ice.
The Marlins stink. There was fun a while there. I think it is now Corbin Carroll who leads this category, but since the All-Star break, your own Marlins Jake Burger. Burger.
He has a good last name, spelled differently though.
Great last name. I told this story before, I think, but the guy in the Blue Rocks growing up who had the last name Burger every time they'd announce him come up the bat. Wilmington Blue Rocks, minor league baseball. We're talking Delaware here. He'd come up and they'd say his name, whatever his first name was, Burger, and then there'd be brief pause, and then Burger. So good, dude. Just like whispering over the intercom system.
That's funny.
Anyhow, he was leading all of baseball in home runs since the All-Star break. Now I do believe it's Corbin Carroll, who unfortunately is taken off along with Diamondbacks. All that to say, Burger slowed down a little bit. Their number one hitter in the lineup, I think, is just back from injury, so maybe he won't be as hot. That Edwards guy, he's been phenomenal. Apart from that, I'm not sure how many guys you could name on this team, Colin, because I can't name that many.
Is Sisto Sanchez still on that team?
I couldn't tell you there, Paul.
Well, I think Logan O'Hoppe is because we traded him to them.
No. He's
we traded him to the Angels. I'm sorry.
Come on, dude, and he's a good baseball
I got
player.
my trades mixed up.
There is a Philly on that team. You should know who it is because it just happened. Feel bad for the guy.
Oh yeah, Pache.
Send
our prayers up to Pache because he sucks. Or not, he doesn't suck. He's on a team that sucks.
Hard to stay loose and sexy when you're a Marlin. I'll tell you that right now.
Pretty much. Yeah, you play that god-awful stadium all the time where my sister can get first baseline seats for $5.
Probably not today. Go Phillies. Phillies fans.
True. There's going to be a lot of red in the house. And Red October is approaching. It's Red Schwarbtember. What a tear that guy's on. He hit 4 home runs in 20 hours. Tell me how that's possible. So let's break it down over. They've won 9 of 11. They've won 14 of 20 in the recent stretch. The Phillies look like they did back in May. I love seeing it. Tuesday's game being down 6-1 in the first inning, and you come back and you win. What was it? 8-7, 10. I forget the score.
Not even close. But the 1-run difference was right. You got the 10-9.
10-9. Okay, I'm sorry.
Double digits because they had that 2-run lead and they needed it because the Blue Jays got that one solo shot to get 9. Yeah, unbelievable game. Unbelievable game.
I was borderline ready to turn the TV off after Zach or Tyler Phillips got pulled, and I'm glad I didn't. I'm really glad I didn't, because that was an electric ball game come to the end of it. Down 6-1, down 8-4, they win 10-9. Holy cow, dude. Brandon Marsh is on a tear. I mean, where do you even want to begin with this Phillies team?
Oh, there's a lot to say. To your point of Schwarber, just to start us off, it's not just the fact that he had 20 hours of absolute abomination from the leadoff spot. By the way, I felt like he hit the leadoff home run in that game, and then we let up 6 runs. And he was like, I have that really cool. I wish we had it in front of us. He has that amazing stat where, like, every game, it's not every game, I don't think, that he's hit a leadoff home run they've won, but it's like pretty insane how many games they have. And I do remember thinking, like, oh man, it's gonna make that stat a little less impressive. I feel like that was on his mind a little bit. I feel like he was like, I gotta hit a couple more of these. I gotta make sure that stays up to par a little bit. But with Schwarber, it's not just that he was so insane. It was before that he had a really awful stretch where he couldn't hit the ball at all. And just like that, he's got 4 home runs in 2 games after going, what, 1 for 20 something or 1 for 30 something. I mean, he was ice cold. There was ice in his veins in the bad way. And then he goes and he hits 3 home runs, 1 to start the game, 1 to, for all intents and purposes, end the game. And then he hits another one the next day. And you'd think the pitchers at that point would be proceeding with caution. They should have. I couldn't believe they didn't walk him. Guy hit 2 home runs already, right? And they had, I think, the first base open. Yes, it would have loaded the bases, but he has 2 home runs already. And especially, he got into a count where he just kind of kept fouling off balls. It's really cool to see. It happens all the time. I don't want to say all the time, like every single game. But when you see these guys, especially power guys that get in these at bats where they foul the ball, and they're not fouls where they're like just barely getting it. You know, like Cody Clemens, he had an at bat like that in that game. It's foul balls where like they're just missing it. You know, it's not that true like staying alive foul ball. Those at bats typically end pretty well for the hitter. Because the more pitches they see, the more they can understand what they're looking at. And eventually the pitcher is going to miss his spot. And the batter's seen so many pitches at that point. I think it's a lot easier from the smack it. Anyways, dude, crushes that ball. That was the third one, was the line drive that like hardly went up at all, right? It was just like was that the third home run?
It was no, the second one. It was just a missile, an absolute
missile, dude.
Oh, also one thing that I noticed, because we talked about it, can confirm not one-way mirrors in the hotel rooms in center field.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they were showing all the Phillies fans with their signs, cool. And that was cool.
I was so appreciative that you brought that up in the last pod, actually, because that was something I didn't know about, and at least the Phillies broadcast crew like really showed it off a lot, and I think I would have been very confused. So I was glad that you brought that up, because then I had a little context for it. And they spent like a whole half inning showing the different I would have just assumed that I think that they're like some kind of box seats. I mean, I'm sure they described it. That it was
that's pretty much what it is. I think it was Tom McCarthy who was saying he was working for CBS at the time and, was in one of those rooms watching a game while he was doing stats. And he's like, it's pretty cool. The rooms are weird because it's right next to a baseball stadium. Yeah. But I mean,
it looks cool. It looks cool, honestly.
Dude, you know what? Could you imagine you and I going to Rogers Center, staying in that hotel, watching the game, doing a live pod after? That's goals right there. We might have to make that.
That would be really sick, dude.
And especially because they have all this interleague play now where the Phillies play the AL every year. Yeah. Let's look into that. I might.
That would be sick.
But a couple of things I wanted to get to here before I forget. One, people have criticized Kyle Schwarber for being the leadoff hitter since he started being so. The past 2 games have showed you why it is a great idea. One, if he leads off the game with a home run, they're already way ahead of the ball game, and he has the tied for most leadoff home runs in one season in Major League history, tied with Alfonso Soriano. He has 13, and I'm pretty sure he's going to get another one this year. He had back-to-back leadoff home runs to start a game in back-to-back games with leadoff home run. I want to look up the last time that's happened. And to your point about walking him when they're in a pinchy situation, you don't walk him because the top of the lineup is right behind him. And everybody's like, no, you should bat him after, Turner or Stott or whoever can get on base. Put him 2 or 3. This is why you don't. Because 1, he gets more at bats, and 2, the lineup after him just gets harder. And I didn't even think about that until you brought it up. But the lineup is so long and deep. Like Brandon Marsh, Johan Rojas, both of those guys have been getting on base with regularity.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Schwarber comes up, it's like, good luck. If those guys are on base, we're probably going to score a run.
Yeah, and it's not even just the top of the lineup is so strong. We have a really the righty-lefty thing, I think, is incredibly impactful too. You say you have your lefty guy up, you got the Schwarber matchup, but then you walk him, you got a tough lefty-righty matchup. That I think you can't underestimate how impactful it is that you have really strong lefty-righty, and they're not forcing it. It's Bomer's been hitting in the 4 spot, and it's not just because he's a righty. It's because he's a righty that has been mashing the ball. And then you have the chance to get even after that, Stott. They really did a good job at the lefty-righty because you have power on both sides and great hitting on both sides. And I think sometimes lineups stretch a player up higher because for the lefty-righty thing, but I don't think the Phillies are doing that. And I think Schwarber just sets the table for everything. The other thing that I like about Schwarber, and I don't think we've talked, by the way, this year feels like it has been by far the least we've ever, I don't know, you listen to the local radio a lot more than me, but I feel like the Schwarber leadoff conversation has not happened. I haven't really heard it happen much at all this year. Whereas I think the last 2 years, it's been a prominent conversation, at least at some point or multiple points in the year. I haven't really heard it too much this year for whatever reason. And then I'll let you respond to that, but also just the guy typically is also a guy that's going to walk as much as anyone else on the team, if not more. And he does give disciplined at bats. So where he is atypical for a leadoff guy in terms of his speed, he is typical in the sense of he's not usually a quick at bat. And now you have maybe the pitcher a little bit more tired, whether he walks or not, or gets on or not. The pitcher's a little bit more tired and it still has to face Turner and Harper, et cetera. So there are some values there that are typical, I would argue. It's just the big power threat and the kind of all or nothing swing maybe is a little bit more atypical. But I digress.
No, I totally agree with you. And the only reason I brought it up about people complaining is because I was listening to sports radio today. And one of the things was, if you would like to apologize for criticizing Kyle Schwarber about being in the leadoff hitter, you're welcome to do so today. And nobody did, obviously. But to your point there, he is second on the team in on-base percentage behind only Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper is 372 on base percentage, and Kyle Schwarber's 371, 1 point behind him. He's only batting 248, but his OBP is 371 because he is disciplined at the plate. He extends at bats. He takes pitches when he needs to because he's a smart hitter. He has a good eye, and he gets on base. He also hits home runs. And when I before our next episode, he get whether it's a single or a home run or a walk, he gets on base. It's just not the typical way you would think about a leadoff hitter doing so. And before our next episode, I'm going to look up the stat of how many times Kyle Schwarber has led off with a home run and they have won the game, because I'm pretty sure the last time we looked it up, it was at 90%.
It was wild. Yeah, we're gonna have to get that stat back.
He batted 7 for 9 in the Toronto series. That's a 778 batting average.
That's good math right there. Although you probably just looked at the number, because I'd be amazed if you knew how to do.
I remembered that number because it came up on post game yesterday, and I was like, "That's good.
It's good.
It's pretty good."
And that, I don't know, 7 for 9. That there might be a walk or two in there too. Who knows? One last Schwarber comment I want to make, and this is something that people that watch the game, they saw, but I sent this video to you. The sign after the leadoff home run, panning over to the sign, hit that John. Why is that not a sign we see all the time? While in Eagles jersey too, which just makes sense, I feel like, for that John vibe there. And at the same time, just total coincidentally, because that was his first big hit, his first home run after that streak of not hitting the ball well at all. What's his name? No reason for me to blank on this guy's name. No, not Crucker. No, former GM.
Yeah, you're right. He's not on a away series. Ruben Amaro Jr.
Yeah, thank you. Ruben Amaro Jr. Just
Ruin tomorrow.
As they pan over and show the sign, he goes, "That's a really good sign," meaning for Kyle Schwarber. But then they just at the same time pan over to hit that, John. That was just like extremely satisfying.
I would not put it past Ruben Amaro to have seen that sign in a split second, make that comment while on the broadcast. Because he's good. He's good at what
that. A lot of people hate on him. I think I'm fine with him. I'm not saying I think he's phenomenal, but I'm honestly like I'm fine with him. He's not Crucker. I'm fine with him.
As a color analyst, not the best, but as like the pre and post game that he does, the analytical mind being a former GM and former player, I think is incredibly insightful, and it helps the lay people like us understand the ins and the outs of baseball and managing a team, and all the way from manager to backup catcher. He's dealt with all of it, and I feel like his perspective means a lot, and he's well spoken when he does so. I agree with you. Yeah, there's probably a lot of people who are like, Ruben tomorrow. He ruined tomorrow for us.
There it is. Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. That's that was a famous Twitter account back in the day. Ruin Tomorrow Jr. But anyway, I digress.
For Ruben Amaro, or you're just connecting?
Yes. No. It was this guy's Twitter handle was Ruin Tomorrow Jr. because he still holds a grudge over not winning more than one World Series in their heyday.
Come on, pal. What are you gonna do? Come on, pal.
It was funny. The guy's name's Joe. Hilarious Twitter follow.
Wasn't Joe the name of the guy, the made up person that you remember when we were having the conversation about the guy that the Sixers drafted, and he's like the guy that like
Joe from South Philly.
Didn't you make up? Wasn't Joe that? It's hilarious because
like Joe
is the name of a guy who makes this like begrudging negative Twitter. That's just gonna be our all-time. That's gonna be our go-to name.
It's Frank. There's Raider Frank, Uncle Frank, and then Joe from South Philly. And those first two people are actually real people who comment and tweet into sports radio all the time. But I digress. All I want to say is I cannot wait to watch them play a 4-game series against the Marlins. We need to get to football, so we'll wrap it up. Do you have any other feelings, thoughts, concerns about? Actually, you know what? I do. I think Bryce Harper, even though he's playing tonight, should go on the 10-day IL sometime between now and the end of the season, because he's clearly not okay. Yeah, he got hit in the elbow last night, in his right elbow because he's a lefty, and his left arm elbow situation just does not look comfortable. So I'm putting that out there. I don't think it's going to happen because Bryce Harper is a OG, and he is not going to take a sick day. He's going to show up when his name is called, and he's not going to tell Topper, I need a break, because that's not the type of guy he is, even though I think he should. That might be a hot take. I think Bryce Harper needs to think in the interest of the team and take some time to heal himself before the playoffs start, because this team goes as far as he goes.
He's playing tonight, you said, but is he playing a position or is he DH? No, it looks like he's for first base. Yeah, he's first base because Schwarber's playing. They couldn't risk Schwarber being out there in the field again.
Schwarber played left last night, and he actually had a really good play off the wall in left field.
Did he really? I was at work, so I was mostly like following along. I didn't even see that. Wow.
No, I was watching most of the game, and Schwarber, there was a ball hit a line drive off the left field wall, and Schwarber like backed off because he knew it was going to hit the wall. Took one bounce off the wall, he caught it with his hand, and almost got the guy out at second. Like bare-handed the ball on one hop, chucked it. Didn't get the guy out, but almost did. So,
buddy, as long as you don't pull any muscles, honestly.
You know what's really funny, and we'll get to the Eagles after this. Rob Thompson got asked about this last night in his post-game press conference. He's like, yeah, it's been a while since Schwarber's played out in the field. I think he had dust on his glove, to be honest.
That's funny because that feels like a joke I could. You know how Schwarber is too with his like personality. I could see Schwarber making a joke like that. Like,
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Topper, dude, Topper's he's awesome.
We
I
love
want to
Topper.
respond to what you just said real fast before we move on.
Okay,
Just
go ahead.
the Harper thing. Obviously, the Phillies are looking very good for the division. Obviously, you don't want to say it's locked up when it's not locked up, but they're in a good spot. But man, it's a battle for the league right now, and the implications are pretty significant as far as home field advantage and things of that nature. So I could see Harper kind of spinning it more. I know you're thinking this moment right now, but there could be a spin there that's like, hey, if you're feeling okay, maybe some rest before the playoffs would be good, but you're feeling okay right now. Let's see if we can focus on winning now, and then as soon as things are locked up, we can focus on rest then maybe. I don't know, but there are still some things on the line right now, even though the division is looking really solid. And you know how much this team cares about their home field advantage because of us, obviously, and how great we are. But that's got to be the conversation that's happening, because otherwise it would be like, what are we doing here? Just rest them up.
We will get to the Eagles right after I bring up this point. I'm looking at their schedule right now. The only tough series they have between now and the end of the season is a 3-game series at the Milwaukee Braves. Because, and I will run this off
Milwaukee
quickly.
Braves, was that a joke or am I missing something?
Milwaukee Brewers. I'm sorry.
All right, I'm glad I said something.
I was looking at their past results, and then I mixed up the two.
Back in 1875, Milwaukee was the Braves.
They're brave out there in Milwaukee. They all drink is Miller Lite.
They played in the cornfield, and they were the Milwaukee Braves.
Thank you for calling me out on my misspeak there. That happens a fair amount. 4 at Miami, and then they play home at Tampa Bay, or home against Tampa, home at New York. Then they go to that series I was talking about at Milwaukee. Then they have they have the Mets for 4, Chicago for 3, Washington for 3. So the only team that is viable to make the playoffs that they have to play the rest of the season is the Brewers, and the Tampa Bay Rays are not playing very well right now.
Didn't you say Mets?
Yes.
Dude, the Mets are a playoff team right now.
Are they?
The Mets are like about to pass the Braves, brother. Look at the standings, brother.
Yeah, I don't think they have it in them long term.
Oh, I do. Only because the Braves have so many injuries, dude. I can't believe honestly, considering all the injuries, I can't believe the Braves are still in the race. If I'm being, I don't know that the Braves are going to be the Mets are a half game out of the playoffs. What are you talking about right now, brother?
All right. Yeah, you're right.
Have you
seen
right. the injury report for the Braves? They're a shell right now, man. They're a shell.
You're not wrong. Yeah, they're a half game out of the wild card, which is wild that it's being held by the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
I don't, and I guess the Cubs aren't that. Well, the Cubs are 4.5 games back of the Braves.
Yeah, they've climbed quite a bit to even get to that point. So I don't really believe in that a whole lot. Although they did have a no-hitter yesterday by Imanaga and a couple of the relievers against your Pittsburgh Pirates, of course.
I guess what I'm saying is a very formidable foe. Games they may lose is the Brewers series. That is the best team they have to play for the rest of the season. Other than that, they're playing teams who are decent to bottom feeders in at least the Marlins and the Nationals.
For sure. That's fair.
All right, let's get to the Eagles. That's enough Phillies.
And just to tack on to that, the Brewers, as far as like having the best league and number 1, number 2 spot in the standings, that Brewers series could be significant for that, being that the Brewers are like 2 games back basically from the Phillies right now. So that could be interesting.
And every game matters because the Dodgers are 1 ahead and the Phillies are playing really well.
Freaking Dodgers, whatever. Screw them.
Okay, tomorrow, in less than 21 hours from now, your Eagles will be kicking off in the first NFL game in the Southern Hemisphere in a very apparently scary place in Sao Paulo, Brazil, where the Eagles can't bring their families. It's just a whole nother thing. Sirianni got asked about that by a bunch of Brazilian sports reporters today. I don't know. You probably didn't get to listen to it, but Nick Sirianni had a press conference from Sao Paulo, and there were a bunch of Brazilian reporters asking like, "Oh, well, what's wrong with Brazil?" And he's just like, "No, we're just focused on winning the football game. We're gonna, focus as a team." And
yeah,
okay, well, this is the first time they've ever sent a team to a South American country, South America.
Yeah, I don't even know. It's been so stupid. Like there's been so much drama. How much is real? How much is not real? How much is overplayed? You can't wear green. You can't wear green, or else you'll get shot immediately.
To the point where the Eagles aren't even wearing green.
But but if you look into that, I've seen tons of stuff that says that's complete BS. Like that's not true. Dude, I've seen everything, dude. I've seen everything.
It can't be. They're going for the first time ever wearing white shirts, black pants, and black helmets. You can't tell me that is a coincidence based off this whole no green in the stadium.
But the backers are wearing green, Colin.
Are they?
Yes, they're wearing green and yellow.
Okay, all right, fine. I didn't see the Packers uniforms. I don't pay attention to the Packers. I don't care about the Packers.
Well, when it comes to the conversation about green, you need to. Okay, bud?
Fair.
I got a story to tell you about the Packers and the Eagles, by the way. I went to 2 weddings this past weekend. All right. Great time. Shout out Nick and Sydney. We're about to find out if they're loyal listeners or not. But great, wonderful, beautiful, fantastic time. And then I was in like the General Butler area. And then the second wedding was the next day, and that was over in the Poconos area. Horrible
over in this neck of the woods.
Over in your neck of the woods.
I-80 sucks.
Dude, hydroplaning. Heard of it? Scary stuff.
Oh, yeah. I've been there.
Anyways, I'm sitting at a table. We're at the reception, and I'm getting to know some of the guys and gals around me. Talk to this one guy, shares the same name as me. His name is Dan, and his family has been Dan. If you are listening, I apologize if I get any of the details wrong here, but Dan is a family has been season ticket holders for the Eagles for years and years and years. So he tells me a story about this one guy. So when you're season ticket holders, this is how I understand it. A lot of the times you'll have the same people around you, or a couple of the same people around you every time you go to home game, because they're also season ticket holders, right? So I guess they had this one guy that was always in front of him, 5-6 rows in front of him, something like that. And I think he wore tons of Eagles gear. Maybe he'd like dress up as an Eagle a little bit. And I think he had like a generic jersey on that wasn't a specific player. So they always called this guy Birds guy. Well, I guess Birds guy would be at all the games, and he was a big drinker. And one time they were playing the Packers, and they watched this man. So there's a guy that comes up to the row to sit in the same row as Birds. I just love it. They called him Birds, but he told the story every time. And he's a Packers guy, typical like Packers jersey, and he's got the big cheese head on top, right?
Oh, God, of course he does.
Cheese head. So he comes up to Birds. Birds walks up to him, and then he takes a giant bite out of his foam cheese head, pulls back with the cheese in his mouth, and then bam, flips him off. Doesn't even say anything, I don't think. Just takes a bite out of the cheese foam. And apparently the Packers guy looked absolutely shocked, just speechless. No movement, nothing. What an unbelievable sight, dude. And honestly, harmless enough that it's absolutely hilarious to me. It's a big block of cheese. Guy's hungry. And then screw you, Packers, go Birds. Phenomenal stuff from the Eagles fandom right there, dude.
And that is us as a whole, being rude and loud to anybody and everybody.
Yeah, but the average fan's just going to yell F you. This guy did something.
We're going to take it over the top.
Yeah.
We're going to take it over the top to the point where this is breaking news, everybody. I'm going to the Monday night home opener against the Falcons, where Monday night countdown is going to be at Xfinity Live, and I'm going to hold up a sign that Dan and I will collaborate on.
Monday Night Football!
The last time I went to a Monday night countdown, I was in Pittsburgh, and I held up a sign that said, Dak Prescott is elite, which was in the font that was SpongeBob pecking the ground. which meant
Phenomenal
Dak
stuff.
Prescott is not elite, and that got picked up by SB Nation. It got picked up by
It's sarcasm, you idiots. Come on, dude. We're just
well,
joking.
no, that's everybody under the age of 35 understood it.
I know.
But-
I'm just kidding. And now I'm being sarcastic. Colin,
Oh.
come on, dude. Come on, dude.
Good point.
Jeez.
I didn't pick up on your sarcasm. Most my bad.
Yeah, well, that was abundantly clear. But hey, it's not Monday night this week. It's Friday night,
It's Friday Night Football.
and I'm in love.
I think you just hit us with an outro there.
There we go. Yeah.
We
That's
found
yeah, that was that the cure? I think that's the cure.
Good pull by you.
Yeah,
Okay, so
the light, me seeing the light bulb, and it's not just I see there is an actual light bulb above your head, but I saw it go off there. That was hilarious.
I love that. Nick Sirianni's waxing poetically about playing Friday Night Light Football like he's a high school football coach. I don't know if you heard that. I'm like, dude,
No,
come on.
I don't want to, and I don't want to.
And this is the reason that Sirianni drives. I don't want to get caught up on a tangent here, but this is the reason Sirianni drives me nuts when he listens to a podcast, press conference that he does. It's just like, really, dude? Like, really? Everything that comes out of his mouth is like, really?
Dude,
But
I was
anyway,
thinking about that today.
I want to get your opinion because I'm pretty sure you've done more digging than I have on one, the biggest matchup you want to see between the Eagles and Packers. And then 2 and 3, I guess, is what do you think the strength of the Eagles is going to be? And what do you think the weakness of the Eagles is going to be? We'll start with number 1. What's the matchup you want to see here?
Oh man, it's always tough because I'm such a big, as we discovered last year, such a big film room guy. So week 1 is really tricky for me because no one has shown me anything from any team in football, and so I'm kind of just working off of like nothing and gut and crap that's not really measurable in my opinion. So
Which is fine because that's what we do here.
So as far as big matchups go, I would say, because I don't know which in favor of who, a guy that I don't feel like has been talked about enough that I see as a guy that could be really good for the Packers this year is this Christian
Watson.
Sorry, I wanted to say Walker, but that's the linebacker. Christian Watson. He was banged up for a good bit of last year. I think he still technically played in like 9 games, but I think at least 2 or 3 of those he was not. He was still pretty banged up. And the last time actually the Eagles played the Packers, it was in 2022, so it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, that would have been his rookie year last season with Aaron Rodgers on the Packers.
And the guy balled out. Yep, exactly. Balled out, 4 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown. And that's kind of what I think this guy can be. I think he can be like a really big play, deep threat guy. And I think that we're just kind of quiet on him, and people have been quiet on him because he was injured for quite a bit last year. So he obviously didn't have a very good year. So I don't know how the Eagles defense is going to be. I don't know if they're going to be like a Darius Slay on their best receiver or if it's going to be a team effort. I don't know, but to me, that's a really big matchup defensively. That's one that like really sticks out to me, and I think is a little bit, I think, underrated. I think he's a good player, so I'm curious to see how that goes. And I'm curious to see. Obviously, Slay is going to be out there. He's going to be. I'm curious to see who's going to be the other defensive back or two that steps it up this game and this year in general. I feel like there's kind of a lot of potential young guys. I'm curious to see who steps it up and becomes kind of the guy, and hopefully there is one that does. But I feel a lot better about the depth this year as far as that position goes. But yeah, I guess that's a match. I know it's not an Eagles player. It's more of a Darius Slay and secondary, but that's a matchup I'm looking for in this game.
That's fair. I mean, they have Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs, who Watson is a third-year player, and I believe Doubs was a rookie last year. Both of which are great picks. But to your point, Slay is obviously one of the starting quarterbacks. Isaiah Rodgers is opposite him with Quinion playing in the slot on nickel. If he is, I don't see it here on the depth chart. I guess I don't know that the depth chart is up to date with injuries. So that may very well be the case. If that is the case, then
He's
it's
out
probably
for week one. Out for week one.
Okay, so it's either Eli Ricks or Keely Ringo, or they might swap Quinyon in there opposite Slay. I haven't been able
talking about Quinyon, Colin.
A lot of people have been talking about Quinyon, rightfully so. He was their first round pick at 22, one of the best cornerbacks in the entire draft. He very well may be the cornerback opposite of Darius Slay. And then you also have CJ Gardner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship holding down the safety position. But I don't disagree with you. I think the resurgence of Jordan Love last year and becoming a true bona fide quarterback after Aaron Rodgers left and seeing what he can do with these wide receivers in year 2 with Matt LaFleur, it's going to put the Eagles secondary to the test. There's no question about it.
And then I can't remember the second question you asked, to be completely honest with you.
Well, I guess it was a 2-part question. It was, what do you think the Eagles' biggest strength is going forward into the season? And what do you think their biggest weakness is going into the season? Or I guess you could break it down into this game, but I would say if we're talking position groups, it's probably a season-long type deal.
Yeah, I'd still have such major question marks about the linebackers. And you can say that they're not important all you want, but last year, how infuriating was it to watch the All-22? And every single week, it was like Cunningham and Morrow and dudes just couldn't do anything, it felt like. And I know that we've heard a lot of great things about Nakobe Dean. It sounds like White has looked bad, basically.
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to talk about it.
I know he's out. I think he's out week 1. I don't know the exact injury, but it sounds like I heard reports that they were looking to even trade him if anyone wanted to bite. Obviously, that didn't happen, but so that's like got to be a weakness, right? Because who's proven on that linebacker crew? Is anyone? No one. No one is proven, I would say. The one guy that was supposedly proven is supposedly the guy they tried to trade away. So
Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond are your 2 starting linebackers for the Eagles going into week 1. So I could not agree with you more that is probably their biggest question mark.
And
I don't even know anything about Zach Bond. Do you?
Not enough. No, I was going to say, and maybe in previous years we'd go, but it's just we should be able to make it work anyways. I would say that has kind of been the Eagles' approach. I would say that's kind of like been our approach. Like, who's looking? How many years have we been like looking to see who the starting linebackers are? Yeah, normally that's kind of like a position we don't care as much about. But last year was awful, dude. Awful. It was miserable.
But then again, we were singing Nick Morrow's praises the first 6 weeks of the season.
Well, he had 3 interceptions or 3 sacks? Probably 3 sacks. 3-sack game.
Yeah. And the Eagles have always, or at least during Howie Roseman's tenure, since the early 2000s Eagles, where they had Trotter and all those guys, they have devalued the linebacker position. Right. And they still keep getting away with it. It's like, how can he keep still getting away with it? It's like the Breaking Bad. How can he, Aaron Paul, how can he keep still getting away with this? That's how the NFL feels about Howie Roseman. He can't keep getting away with this, but he is. He is.
Yeah. Well,
so I'm with you. I'm very concerned about the linebackers.
The one thing that I like better about this year as opposed to previous years, as I'm looking up Zach Bond, I really got to be honest, I don't know too much about Zach Bond, is that at least there's some guys in the room with Trotter and Dean, who Dean technically was there last year, who's just hurt for so much. So Bond's from the Saints, who had a pretty good defense. But there's some young talent, I guess, versus last year it was a Cunningham and a Morrow who had been in the league and had been kind of proven to not be very good for years and years. hence them like bouncing around from teams and practice squads and things of that nature. So at least there's maybe a little bit more room for growth, whereas last year we were kind of hoping that these guys could just be good enough and there wasn't much room for or hope for growth. But yeah, man.
That's fair. All right. So what is if you had to pick a specific position group, what is the ultimate strength of this Eagles team?
I feel like and this makes me really, maybe it's just because the season hasn't started yet. I feel like there's some serious options here. And I think that there's options on defense. I really do. I'm excited about this team. But how can you not? I don't know how you can't pick the like playmakers. And I want to say wide receivers, but I don't like playmakers, right? Because yes, wide receivers. Now, if you get beyond Dotson, it does get a little but most wide receiver rooms would, I would say, once you get to wide receiver 4. But the problem with me just saying receivers is that I don't just mean the wide receivers, because also Goddard is still a fantastic tight end in this league. And Saquon Barkley, I think, brings not just as a running back, but as a receiver, I think he brings a ton to the table too. And as like just IQ guy, I think he brings a ton to the table. Last year we complained a lot how Swift wasn't in as much as we wanted to see him in. And we talked about how I think part of it is maybe the IQ side of things and maybe the like IQ and chemistry with the quarterback and things like that. And also the picking up blocks and things like that. Dude, Barkley's good at all of that stuff, all of it. I'm excited about just the playmakers and the receivers on this offense. There's just it feels like there's a lot of talent, man, a lot of options.
There's so much talent on this team, and I feel like they might have the offense that could pick them up from any defensive lack of efficiency. And I can't wait to watch this offense go under Kellen Moore, who finally they have a coordinator who knows what they're doing. Dan, I know you have a hard out in a few minutes. I do want to get your thing in here about where are they now, because it's Eagles related. So we will end the show with this. I know you have a hard out, so at least give me one of these where are they now Eagles players.
I got a couple because I think you'll know a few. So I'll start with some that are a bit easier. Where are they now? So this is just a list. I got 7 guys, a list of guys that are former Eagles, and where are they now in the league? So first off, Isaac Seumalo, former Eagle.
Oh, he is with the Detroit Lions and is injured.
It's wrong. He's with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I knew he was injured.
I think he's healthy. Is he injured?
Oh yeah, he's injured. He's not playing week 1.
Oh, second year with the Steelers, actually. Second year.
I knew his team I was familiar with.
Former Eagles quarterback Gardner Minshew, Uncle Rico.
Was he still with the Colts? I know he was with the Colts last year.
He's not.
No, where he got traded somewhere.
He's with the Raiders.
Oh, he's Derek Carr's backup.
Yeah, so we might be seeing him a little bit. How about our guy TJ Edwards? Where's he now?
TJ Edwards. To be honest with you, is he with the Bills?
Not the Bills. The Bears.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really bad at this. I'm really bad at this because as soon as Eagles players leave, they just go out of my brain. Pretty much. Yeah, they're dead to me.
Okay, a couple left. Ronald Darby. This is a tough one.
I mean, we talked about it. Is he on the Ravens now?
No, I think he was last year, though.
Okay. When we talked last time about Ronald Darby, he was on the Ravens.
He's a Jaguar.
Ah, interesting. He played back with Doug P.
Reunited with Dougie P.
Running it back. Okay. All right.
Couple left, and I saved the best for last year. Nelson Aguilar.
I know he was with the Patriots, but I don't think he is anymore.
I'm so bad at this.
I know, dude.
I'm curious if like the average Eagles fan knows. I thought you would get this one for sure.
Is he with the Chiefs now?
No, Ravens.
He was on the Ravens last year, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. I'm just dumb.
I got 3 left. The last 2 are super fun. So this next one is the team we're about to play, the Packers have an Eagle. Do you know who he is? He's a former lineman. He's a lineman, offensive lineman.
Offensive lineman.
He's the only one that I recognize on their roster as a former Eagle that actually played for us. High expectations.
No idea.
Guy, and he sucked.
No idea.
Andre Dillard.
God damn it.
And then 2 left. Huge names in this town. One we talked about earlier. Where is Carson Wentz, dude?
Carson Wentz is backing up the Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. Did we talk about this? Dude. Did we talk about this? Where the scenario? I have a scenario for you, bro. If we did, I can't. It wasn't you I brought it up to,
dude. I don't remember this.
I thought it was. Imagine the NFL script. Okay, Patrick Mahomes goes down the first week of the playoffs. Carson Wentz comes in against Jalen Hurts, against the quarterback that pushed him out of Philly, Andy Reid, and Carson Wentz against Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl. Could you imagine the draw?
Dude,
I almost hope this happens.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Although the draw would probably still be bigger if it was just Patrick Mahomes, I will say.
Okay, probably.
To be fair.
The storyline. All right.
If that were to happen, I really would maybe start to actually believe that it's all just made up and it's all scripted. I would actually probably.
Carson Wentz and Andy Reid against Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni in the Super Bowl.
Dude, Carson Wentz, a Kansas City Chief. Good for him. Good for him. And then last one.
I
got one more. Our own beloved Zach Ertz.
He was with the Cardinals last year. Is he still with? He's not still with the Cardinals.
He's not, dude.
No. See, all these transactions just mess me up year to year.
We're gonna see him this year, brother. We're gonna see him twice.
Browns?
No, we're gonna see him twice. We're gonna see him twice.
Oh. He's with the Commanders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sucks, dude. I don't like that at all.
Sucks to be him, I guess.
I don't want to tackle Zach.
Well, whatever.
I love that guy.
He made his money.
I love that guy.
All right, Dan, this has been a great episode. I am so hyped for football season. I don't know about you. We're back. Sir. We will be back on Tuesday, correct? We will be back on Tuesday to do a full analysis of said Eagles game.
Yeah.
We talked about Sunday being a possibility, but nobody's going to be listening to things on Sunday because everybody's, including us, are going to be watching NFL football because week 1 is back, baby.
It's back, baby. Yeah, let's just stick to Tuesdays. Tuesday our day that we got plenty of time to watch the film and give people real good objective and subjective information.
I agree. This was a one-off Thursday episode because it worked better for both of us. And I'm thankful for anybody who's listened, tuned in, joined, streamed, everything. We don't make money off of this, but we love doing it anyway. Dan, I love you, brother. Do you have any words of wisdom for the people on the way out? And if you don't, that's okay.
Tomorrow, it is only a day away, baby. Go Birds.
Go Birds! Let's go. We are less than 24 hours away from the Eagles kickoff. This has been the Del Valley Sports Pod, episode number 47, brought to you by your boys CB and DG3. Dan, I love you, brother. Enjoy football. I will be texting you later on tonight, tomorrow, all through the weekend. Can't wait, dude. It's back, baby. We're back.
Till Tuesday. Go Birds. Love you, brother.
Love you too. Go Birds.